talking about fighting corruption, anti-counterfeit. And today we'll be looking at this economic killer, counterfeit goods, from fake pharmaceutical to electronics to counterfeit alcohol and consumer products, as the Kenyan market is flooded with imitations that not only rob the economy in billions of revenue, but also endanger and undermine genuine innovation. And to speak to that, I'm joined by Mr. Yusuf Ahmed, who is the Director of Enforcement at Anti Counterfeit Authority. Thank you for coming to our studios.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, kicking off from looking at Kenya is said to be flooded with counterfeit goods at all levels of consumption. What is the situation from where you sit?
Thank you, Remo. I want to just assure the public and the Kenyans that Kenya is safe, despite the fact that the perception of people outside there that the counterfeit is flooding the market. We as Anti Counterfeit Authority established an Anti Counterfeit Act 2008 and operationalized in 2010. We have up to the task, and we have done tremendous work in terms of ensuring that the consumers are getting the rightful products. However, what I want to acknowledge is that counterfeit issue is a global issue. So we might be able to find counterfeit goods in the market, but the perception that it has been flooded might not be accurate enough.
Okay.
We are also approaching the issue of counterfeiting not only as an Anti-Counterfeit Authority, but as a multi-agency approach. So quite a number of entities are working closely with us to ensure that there is no counterfeit goods in the market.
Okay.
Yes.
And we'll come to the multi-agency approach.
Yes.
But what is the estimated annual economic loss due to counterfeit goods in Kenya?
In Kenya, I think we are approximating around 120 billion Kenya shillings. That is estimated to be the loss in terms of the economy, which is a huge amount of money.
Is this annually?
Definitely, it's an annual, it's an annual estimate. But globally, I think from the reports of OECD, there is quite a number of trillions that are lost across the globe in terms of issues of counterfeiting. And if you look at the spectrum of counterfeiting aspect, you will find that counterfeiting is an organized crime which is transnational and quite complex in terms of the people who are dealing with it. So I think Kenya as a country, we have made a step in terms of the establishment of a unique institution like Anti-Counterfeit Authority, which is not found in Africa. It is a unique institution that was established to fight counterfeit, and it is only found in South Africa and also in Kenya. So we are a step ahead in terms of our legislative framework. We are a step ahead in terms of the operations. We are a step ahead in terms of fighting counterfeit. But since it's a global issue, we are able to appreciate that the effort that has been done up to now is quite commendable.
Okay.
Yes.
You're saying it's a global issue.
Yes.
And also globally, Kenya prides itself as a global and regional IP, that is intellectual property enforcer leader.
Yes.
How come we are still grappling with serious counterfeit challenges?
You see, counterfeiting is quite an avenue that is being perceived by most people. But first of all, the baseline of counterfeiting is the brand owners themselves. The approach of the approach of counterfeiting must be, there is a need for us to create awareness in terms of our manufacturing sector, in terms of the brand owners to know that there is counterfeiting of their product in the market. Secondly, if you look at the issue of our borders, quite a number of our borders are porous. We are not able to effectively manage the porous borders, which is mostly used for smuggling counterfeit goods into the market. Thirdly, we have also a challenge in terms of our port, whereby we are supposed to man and we are supposed to know what is coming in, but unfortunately we are not at the port as an Anti-Counterfeit Authority because of the circular that was released in 2019. So we are still trying to find our footing in terms of how best we can be able to entrench ourselves along the entry points and at the port to ensure that we are effectively dealing with counterfeit. Those are challenges that can be found within, but at the same time we have a quite diverse way of dealing with it because we have also automated our system in terms of recordation. We are also using customer software called Blip to ensure that we get intelligence that is goods that are in the market. So we have tried to diverse very many ways of dealing with counterfeiting in the country. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now you have said that we lose about 120 billion shillings annually.
Yes.
Apart from that,
yes,
how does counterfeiting affect local manufacturers as well as innovation?
You see, the starting point of counterfeiting is the liberalization. And globalization is also one of the issues that is affecting all of us. So the issue of liberalization, where we allow goods to come in, there is issues of competition. Goods are coming in through affect all of us globally. And also the money that is being used or by the organized crime can be used for other activities that are illicit in terms of criminal activities. So we are trying to see that the local manufacturers are not heavily affected in terms of counterfeiting. And that's an assurance that we can give to the public of the country, that the local manufacturers are not affected as such, but we are trying to ensure that if there's any incidences where the local manufacturers have been affected, we are at the forefront, working closely with Kenya Association of Manufacturers and other partners to ensure that there is no counterfeiting that is done locally. What happens is that most of the scrupulous people, like, for example, the most non-counterfeited activities is alcohol that is being counterfeited. Now, what happens in the alcohol sector is that there are people who are manufacturing in their residential areas, and they are supplying their supply chain, which we are effectively dealing with together with the DCI and other entities. However, we are at the forefront in terms of ensuring that we minimize the issues of counterfeiting locally at all levels.
And of course that calls for multi-agency approach. And you've talked about that earlier on, talking about partnering with various agencies to curb counterfeit. But we've seen, let's say, proliferation of this counterfeit. We've seen fake excise KEBS excise stamp in the public domain being used to ensure that these counterfeit products access the market. From where you sit, how are you dealing with that? With, of course, with KEBS involved and KRA.
Definitely, that's the approach we are taking is the multi-agency approach. And you see, the perception of the public outside is that everything is counterfeit. But there are quite a number of areas that we need to look at. We need to differentiate between substandard products, if it is there. We need to know what the limitations in terms of what is counterfeiting, because counterfeiting is mostly about imitation or copying. You must be copying somebody's product, which is known. And the source must be known that you are counterfeiting or you are imitating product A. But if it is substandard, it deals with quality issues, which people mostly now compound it as counterfeit also. Similarly, there is an accustomed goods that is coming through the smuggled product, which is not taxed. That is also being termed as counterfeit. In general public view, it is known as counterfeit or fake. So there is quite a lot of might in terms of what is this counterfeiting. You see, we can only deal with counterfeiting when we have the brand owners on board, because it is the brand owners who are able to give us information that their products are being counterfeited. Without the brand owners on board, then the limitations of something being branded counterfeit becomes quite unique in terms of identification. So what we are trying to look at is how best can we create awareness or create the education to the public to differentiate between product A being counterfeit, product B being substandard, product C being accustomed, and so forth. Because that is the essence of us understanding the compound word of the word counterfeit.
So what should they look out for?
They should look out for, one, is that once they have an item that they suspect to be fake or counterfeit, they should look out for the brand name. And you see, a product has got quite a number of IP forms. And what I'm saying about IP form is that the design of the product, like for example, I want to take this example of a water. This product has got quite different form of IP, which can be counterfeited. The name Quincha can be counterfeited. Somebody can use the name Quincha to say that it is from the Quincha product, but which we know that he is doing it at his residential place. The shape of this bottle is protected. So if somebody uses this shape which is being protected, is also a sort of a counterfeiting.
Okay.
You can also counterfeit the artistic appearance of this product. So in counterfeiting, we have got different form of infringement that we are looking out for. So it is not about only the trademark. We are looking about the industrial design. We are looking about the copyright issues. We are looking out for so many other aspects. Geographical indications can also be is an IP form, whereby, for example, you can say that Ketepa as a tea is being manufactured at Kericho because of the uniqueness of the area. So if somebody else uses Ketepa, it can be now a geographical indication also, despite the fact that the Ketepa is trademark. So there's different form of IP that we are looking out for, not only the name. So I think the issue of counterfeiting is quite unique, and we appreciate that the Kenyans public require or deserve to be given their fair share of a genuine aspect,
right.
genuine product.
Okay.
So we are on the watch out. We are their watchdog. Okay. The assurance is that we are looking out for any information that you have in terms of counterfeiting. You can reach out to us or any other agencies. Right. We are here to work closely.
And of course, that calls for technology, and you had mentioned earlier on you have the latest technology, but we'll come back to that.
Yes.
But first we want to head to where Justice Lawrence Mugambi is giving his ruling on the IEBC nominees straight to the courts.
Although the jurisprudential value of the decision of a bench would not override that of a single judge of the same court. Although the present petition can be heard by a single judge of this court, and also being fully aware that a bench would sometimes require resources, both personnel and financial, as well as more time to resolve a petition than if it were heard by a single judge, the present petition is the kind of petition that this court should exercise its discretion in favor of an expanded bench due to public importance and significance in our constitutional democracy. The issues sought to be decided are not mere questions of law, they are substantial questions of law, and their resolution will have a material bearing on the first respondent's decision to arrest and prosecute the petitioner and the independence of the judiciary. End of quote. Correspondingly, the court in National Alliance, NASA versus Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission held as follows. The only constitutional provision that expressly permits the constitution of a bench of more than one high court judge is Article 165, which requires that for the matter to be referred to the Chief Justice under the same provision, the High Court must certify that the matter raises a substantial question of law. In my view, the determination of such issues is a judicial one. The court is obliged either on its own motion or on application of the parties to the cause to identify the issues which, in its view, raise substantial questions of law. End of quote. To this end, the upshot is that the petitioners have satisfied the threshold for a grant of conservatory orders. I also find that it is satisfied the requisite condition under Article 165(4) of the Constitution. I thus make the following orders. That pending the hearing and termination of this petition, a conservatory order is hereby issued forbidding and or preventing the gazettement, taking of oath, or assuming of office by the interested parties, namely Erastus Edung Ethekon, Anne Jerin Deritu, Moses Altara Mukwana, Mary Karen Sorobit, Hassan Nur Hassan, Francis Odhiambo Odwol, Fahima Haravat Abdara, or any other person or persons as the chairman or commissioners of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. For avoidance of doubt, the vetting and approval process in the National Assembly may proceed, but subject to this order. B. This file is hereby forwarded to the Chief Justice for empanelment of an even number of judges to hear and determine the petition pursuant to the provisions of Article 165(4) of the Constitution. Costs shall be in the course. So that is the end of my ruling. So you will have to await directions from the Deputy Registrar once the bench is constituted.
On the IEBC nominees, Justice Lawrence Mugambi there giving his ruling, and of course our reporter is on standby to come and break down for us what that ruling means for us as Kenyans as we look out for the IEBC nominees. It will be presented before, or rather we'll be talking about it later on once we are done with this conversation that we are having in studio regarding the anti-counterfeit or rather enforcement of the anti-counterfeit rules, as well as ensuring that we ensure that the latest technology is there to monitor and detect counterfeits. And picking up from where we left, Mr. Ahmed, we are talking about detecting counterfeit with the latest technology.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier on that you have deployed technology that can be able to detect this counterfeit. But then again, we see an evolving sector, the digital platforms.
Yes.
How is this technology being used to ensure that we are checking this fix online?
First of all, I want to just to give you a highlight in terms of the technology that we are using to combat counterfeit.
Okay.
As Anti Counterfeit Authority, we have developed a system called recordation, which we are able to monitor all the imports into our country through our system. We are able to know the types of the brand name that they are being used. It's a mandatory for them to declare the brand name, and we have recordals with the IP rights that will be able to supplement in terms of referrals of whether the imported party is legit or not legit. So that system is quite helpful in terms of us trying to do what we call profiling and targeting of suspected counterfeit. As you know, the operations in terms of the imports is that we are here also to facilitate trade. So there's a balancing act in terms of combating counterfeit and facilitating of trades. Therefore, what we are trying to develop is that we have a database that we are checking on, and we are also to profile the goods that are coming in. So as we profile, we are able to know the trend of the goods that is coming in, the persons who are bringing in the products, and their chain of supply. So we are trying to break it down so that whenever we are suspecting, we now raise the alarm or the flag to ensure that the product is being, or the container or the consignment is being verified.
Okay, but
so
where do you draw the line between facilitating trade and fighting anti-counterfeit?
Of course,
fighting counterfeit.
Of course, what we are trying to do is that we want to ensure the smooth flow of the product, but it should be legit.
Okay.
So we are trying to look at, through our system, we are trying to profile and target the specific trend of a certain product and the importers, so that once we find that this is suspicious consignment, we now try to intervene and target this consignment for the purpose of ensuring that we are not being viewed as harassing any trader or trying to disrupt the port operation or trying to disrupt the facilitation of trade. We had that obligation to ensure that there is a free flow of goods that are legit. So we are trying to balance how we are able to get those targeted consignment to be verified and to allow the legit products. As I've said also, there is a trend of online counterfeiting that has been going on. This one, I think what we are trying to look at is that we have a sector in terms of officers who are able to profile the sites that are being used. Nowadays, I think Kenyans are also very clever. They are quite using a lot of technology in terms of their own phone, WhatsApp. You will see a lot of people advertising their product through the social media and so forth. So we are trying to look at those platforms, the social media platform. We have got the main platforms such as Jumia. We have been collaborating with them. We are trying to ensure that whatever they upload into their system is legit through them having some agreement with their traders that they are able to sign some document to show that whatever they are uploading, they will take responsibility if it is counterfeit. So we have worked closely with them. We had that MOU that they should be able to watch out for those products through their system. So we are trying to put measures in place in all sectors. And as you know, the digital platform is so vast, and we had our own challenges in terms of personnel, in terms of scarcity of resources. We are not able to reach it out to all, but we are trying our best to ensure that we implement. And we have also an MOU with the Communication Authority in terms of the website that are using to advertise counterfeit product. Once we find it out, we are able to track them down and pull them down through the Communication Authority. So we are using so many measures to ensure that Kenyans are safe from counterfeit products.
Okay.
Yes.
According to the 2024 National Consumer Level Survey,
Yes.
you are the ones who did it.
Yes.
The counterfeit ecosystem has mutated into a complex network of
Yes.
vendors, retailers, even supermarkets.
Yes.
How is the Anti Counterfeit Authority countering this tide?
Counterfeit Authority is countering the aspect of retail trade through what we call random inspections. We have officers who normally go out for random inspection in the designated or informations from different sectors. Like, for example, if we have information on goods that are being sold in the supermarket, we normally do the physical random verification, that market surveillance. We also do market surveillance. And the aspect of us having a complaint from the public is a very vital component for us, because without having information from the public, we are not able to go out there. And again, Wairimu, you can understand the dynamics in this country. The small-scale traders, quite a number of times we have been in the streets, having security issues. Our officers are mobbed out in terms of conducting the inspection and doing the enforcement. So we are supposed to ensure that we are systematic in terms of our operations. And from January up to date, we have been carrying out what we call a Rapid Result Initiative, an RRI. And I can assure you that in that RRI, we have prioritized what we call health and safety issues. We have prioritized the issue of spare parts because of the issues of accidents that's happening across. We have prioritized the issue of fertilizers because of the food security. We have prioritized the issue of cosmetics and detergents. All these are affecting health and safety of our consumers. So we have nabbed almost around 300 million of goods worth between January this year up to date.
Okay.
And that's tremendous in terms of the fertilizer that we have seized in quite a number of areas, and I know in the media we have seen it. So we are trying to ensure that whatever enforcement strategy that we are using, we are trying to prioritize the issue of health and safety. And that's what we have been doing, and we shall continue doing it. And we are very happy that the results are quite tremendous. We have got quite a number of brand owners and brand agents that are on board. We are working closely with them, a number of them. So we are very strategic in terms of our operations.
Okay.
Yes.
Earlier on, and you mentioned the value of the goods you have nabbed, 300 million. But earlier on, you talked about digital platforms and flagging off websites that are selling counterfeit goods. In partnership with the Communication Authority. Like in the last, is this data captured when it comes to flagging off, so that they do not go ahead and create another new website and still continue with this vice?
Definitely, I think the process of pulling down website is quite tedious, and you cannot stop someone not to create another one. But whenever we have that suspicious platform that's coming up, we shall be able to pull them down. But the problem is, again, how do you identify the faces behind it? So those are things that we are working on, because the people who are behind it must be school-plus people who are trying to deceive the Kenyans. So we are pulling it down initially, and now we are looking for further information to know who are the people behind the system. So we are able to now move forward and using the DCIs, the cybercrime units, and so forth.
Okay,
so
as we come to a close, is public health part of consumer protection, given that the pharmaceutical industry is also infiltrated?
Of course, the multi-agency perspective is that we are trying to enshrine all the agencies that are relevantly working closely with us in terms of issues of counterfeiting. Like, for example, the Pharmacy and Poison Board is part of the entities that we are working closely with them. We have done quite a number of operations with them, and we have nabbed a counterfeit vaccine in Mombasa. These are things that are not in the public domain, but we are working out closely with them in terms of any pharmaceutical products. We are also working on lifestyle drugs or weight loss drugs that we are getting information, and we have worked on it. We have seized them. So these are things that are happening behind the scenes. We are working with relevant entities. If it is about drugs, we are supposed to work closely with public Pharmacy and Poison Board. We are supposed to work with public health, as we have said. We have got also issues of expiry of products. So we we are working together with all other entities that are relevant in terms of fighting counterfeit.
All right. My director is on my case to close the conversation. But before I let you go, the traditional methods like market raids, I'm so sure you must be supplementing it with war on the digital, or rather on the digital level.
Definitely.
Yes. How has been that? How has it been?
I think the conventional method is now running out of steam, and everybody is moving toward the digital aspect. And anti-counterfeit is not left behind in that, because we are working closely, partnering with the anti-counterfeit unit in Uganda, who have come up with a consumer software where we are able to identify a counterfeit product in the market. We can use the QR code and so forth, and we now give that information that has been announced to different entities. If it is a counterfeit issue, counterfeit agency is being given that information. If it is a substandard issue, it is given to KEPS. If it is issues of pharmaceutical, it's given to so that software is called Blip. So we are working closely with them to have Blip Kenya, because now there's Blip Uganda. So we have Blip Kenya so that we can be able to have that information that is available for the consumers to report, so that we can be able to gather that information and action it, so that we can be able to use that platform. Consumers are not left behind.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to our studios.
Thank you very much.
This is a broad conversation. We cannot exhaust it within an hour, but we'll invite you again in our studios, and we can, of course, continue with where we have left off. That is Yusuf Ahmed, Director of Enforcement at Anti Counterfeit Authority, talking to us about this pressing issue on counterfeit goods, and also sharing with us how you can be able to know between substandard goods and counterfeit goods. And this is a conversation you need